And I believe we are live. So hello everyone and welcome to the Riverwood Conservancy's webinar, Endangered Species, African Lion Kingdom with Dave Taylor. My name is Stephanie. I'm the Community Program Coordinator at the Riverwood Conservancy. I hope you're all enjoying the weather and getting outdoors even on this foggy day. I want to say a special thanks to Credit Valley Conservation for supporting all of the work we do. Now, before we get started today, I just want to mention that all of our June programs are now live on our website. Please register for many free programs as you would like. On your screen now, you should see the entire calendar of virtual events. We have a lot of interesting guest speakers in June, so please check them out. Anything highlighted in yellow are programs that are coming up and are open to watch. And if you would like to support our virtual and hopefully soon in-person programs and conservation of Riverwood's habitat and wildlife, please consider donating on our website. Before we get to our wonderful speaker today, the Riverwood Conservancy would like to acknowledge that the land on which we operate is the territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and the traditional homeland of the Anishinaabe, Wendat, and Haudenosaunee nations. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties and is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Agreement. Today, this place is still home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to live and work on this land. And today we have Dave Taylor, who is a wildlife photographer and the author of more than 40 books on wildlife and ecology. His most recent book, Black Bears, A Natural History, 2nd edition, is available now. Dave also focuses his efforts on producing educational videos and material about wildlife for both the public and to support school curriculum. He has traveled throughout the world capturing nature with his camera, and he frequently visits Tanzania where he guides wildlife safaris. Dave taught science and geography for more than 30 years and nature photography at Humber College for more than 25 years, and today is a consultant for the Riverwood Conservancy. So welcome, Dave. If you're watching with your class today, teachers, if you could please type in the chat, whether you're watching on Zoom or Facebook, the grade and the number of students you are watching with. This is greatly appreciated. And if you have any questions during the presentation for Dave, please type them in the chat, Q&A, or comment section, and we will address them at the end of the presentation. So, Dave, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, and welcome everybody. Just a heads up that this is about lions, so lions do what they do, and I will try and make it as suitable for the audience as I can. Let's begin with a little introduction to not a lion. This is a cast of...
Sorry, Dave, you just got muted on accident. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Nobody can hear me.
All right, there you go.
All right, sorry to be interrupted there. This is the skull of a saber-toothed tiger. It's a cast. And I'm bringing it out to show you a couple of things. I do not have a lion skull with me. This skull would be just a little bit bigger than the skull of a lion. Now, lions would lack the giant saber tooths. But this cat, which roamed North America, would have been about the size of a big lion, a little bit bigger than modern day lions. What a lot of people don't realize is that lions once roamed North America, and they were very widespread. They roamed across Asia, Europe. Now they're confined to a small forest in India and some reserves in Africa. So let's go into the world of the lion. I'm going to share my screen and let's see how this works. Hopefully everything goes well. And you should be seeing the African lion, carnivores of Africa. So lions have a really good reputation and a really bad reputation, depending on where you look at them. Let's turn on here. We think of the lion as the king of the beasts, the noble predator, Simba in The Lion King. Just a strong, brave defender of his family. but other people think of the lion as a predator. These two lions are mounted in the Field Museum in Chicago, Illinois, and they are notorious. They are the two lions that stopped the building of a railroad in East Africa. It was made famous in a couple of movies. They killed several hundred people and really got worldwide fame. These are the lions that Colonel Patterson eventually was able to shoot. And the story is a dramatic story, and it has some funny moments. It has some very serious moments. And perhaps at some time, at a later date, I might be able to tell you that. Notice that these two lions do not have manes. They're both males. Lions, depending on where you find them, may or may not have a characteristic mane. The mane exists only on the females. But we're off to Africa. Africa is the second largest continent, and we're off to East Africa and the Serengeti Plains. Now, those red dots that you can see are the places that I took some of the pictures that you're about to see. Lions are usually associated with open country, like the Serengeti Plains, but lions live in forests. Lions can live in the scrub brushlands up north in Isiolo in Kenya. They can live wherever there's enough prey for them to eat. Doesn't mean there are a lot of lions in some of these places, but they do live there. Lions even live in Etosha and the deserts of South Africa and Namibia. When we think of Africa, we think of Kilimanjaro and the plains that spread up below. This is what most people think of lion country, and this is where we will spend most of our time in this talk. This is the land where the largest herd of mammals on Earth exists. The herd of wildebeest, 1.5 million of them, moving through the Serengeti Plains up into Kenya. And they are the major prey for a lion. So lions are carnivores, which means they have carnivorous teeth. They are one of two branches of the carnivore family. There's the dog family and the cat family. And they, of course, are members of the cat family, the second largest member of the cat family. Male lions are called lions. Female lions are called lionesses. Lionesses are probably more deserving of the title queen of the beasts than the lion itself deserves king of the beast. Lions form prides. They are the only social cats. Cheetahs will form small groups occasionally of just males, but lions will have one or two dominant males and several females in their offspring. When lions have lion cubs, all of the lions in the pride help take care of them. They look after them. A mother lion will nurse another lion's cubs if that other lioness is out hunting. Male lions are very tolerant of cubs. When lions greet, if you have a cat, you may have noticed this, it will come up and it'll rub its head against another lion or lioness. Cubs, when they are born away from the pride in a secluded place. And when they're about, maybe a month old, mama takes them in and introduces them to the pride. They're very small. They have blue eyes when they're very young. They're just adorable. And as they grow, they remain very close to the lions in their pride. They're playful, like all cats. They love to jump. They love to chase tails. Mother is really patient with them. And they practice the skills that are going to help them grow up to be the king of the beasts or the queen of the beasts. They hunt each other, not to hurt, but to play. The male lion only fulfills the role in the pride for about 3 years. That's about as long as he'll last. When he's about 2 years old, he leaves the pride and he becomes a wandering male. He wanders on his own, maybe with a brother. They got booted out of the pride at the same time. They're booted out because their father doesn't want any competition and they should leave their mothers and sisters alone. So the males wander. Eventually, another male will come along and challenge the pride male. This one is badly injured. It's badly cut up and has lost his pride, and he will never regain it. So he will spend the remaining 5 or 6 years of his life, if he's lucky, wandering around. He's quite capable of getting his own food. Lions advertise their territory by roaring. The roar sounds like you've got a tin can and you're drawing a string through it. It sounds, "Roar, roar." And when I do that, when on safari, I've had lions look up and see just what it was. It's not a very good imitation of a lion, but it does get them to at least pay me some attention. As they wander, the lions hunt for themselves. They try and get as much food, they try and grow stronger, and they form coalitions. If they don't have a brother with them, they may team up with another male lion, and eventually they will challenge the pride male. When a male lion takes over a pride, the first thing he does is he kills all of the other male lion's cubs. It seems harsh, but by doing so, he brings the females, after about 5 or 6 months, and he's been around a while, they accept him and they will allow him to mate with them, and he has his own cubs, and he's interested in raising his genetic offspring. Lions, one of the great things on safari that people like to see is lions mating, because it's quite a show. The male and the female go off a little bit on their own. They will mate a number of times during the day, upwards to 3,000 times, to produce one cub to adulthood. I don't know who figured that out. Somebody obviously watched a lot of lions and did a lot of math. They are very gentle when they're courting, but the mating act usually ends in both of them roaring at each other, which is what makes the people on safari so excited, because this is the time you actually see lions interacting and growling and showing their teeth. You also see it happen when they're feeding. The king of the beast takes over dinner. He will chase the females away. He might let the cubs eat. The females will not let the cubs eat until they too get their food. So there's a whole strategy here. When you see lions eating, it's often raucous and loud. And lions have lots of prey. They will prey on smaller animals, from warthogs right up to buffalo, and sometimes, particularly in South Africa, on elephants. Lions have pests, and to escape them, they will go up trees. They go up a tree to get rid of the flies, the biting flies. These 3 lions were up a tree because a herd of elephants was going by. They can climb very well. You might have read that lions can't climb trees. Don't you believe it? They're not as good a climber as a leopard, but they can climb a tree better than you or I could. On the plains of East Africa, there are these rocky mountaintops called koppies. Basically, they've been buried by millions of years of volcanic ash and eruption, and it's just the tip of the mountain showing. But these places are special to the lions. First of all, these rocks in the koppies capture water. And because there's water there, plants like trees grow there. And because trees grow there, there's shade. So there's places here where the lions can get out of the heat of the day. And if you're looking for lions on safari, you will often drive around these koppies hoping to see one of these cats poking their eyes out at you. They love to sleep on them. This is a big male, fast asleep, ignoring everything. Meanwhile, the herds go by, 1.5 million of them. The wildebeest in the Serengeti, at least, is the lion's main prey. They must kill and eat something the size of a wildebeest about once a week. And if it's a big pride, about twice a week. And it's the females that do most of the hunting. They will spot some wildebeest off in the distance, and off they go, and everybody else looks. And if she's lucky, she'll have the assistance of several of the other females. The cubs often join in, and sometimes their play really bring attention to the fact that there are lions in the area and ruins everything. And lion scent is everywhere because when lions walk, they leave a trail of scent. So the wildebeest cannot just rely on smelling a lion to know what's around. There's always the scent of lions. In this case, the wildebeest herd, a young baby has been orphaned. Its mother has wandered off, and the baby can't find its mom. And no other wildebeest will look after it. It will attract predators. And in this case, it attracts a lioness. And you notice the wildebeest in the background. They pay no attention. The lion quickly catches up with the youngster and carries it off. It's perhaps a better way than starving to death. Now, lions eat meat. Most of their diet is meat. They hunt prey from the size of warthogs. By the way, this warthog got away. It's amazing how fast a warthog can run. It's also amazing how far a lioness can run. She cannot run very far. When a lion comes to the water hole to drink, everybody leaves the water hole. They have to move off because you don't know what the lion's going to do. This lion had just fed and really wasn't interested in hunting, but they will hide out at water holes for the prey to come down. As soon as the lion left and was well and get close enough to catch you. But when you can't see the predator, even though this lioness is very obvious to you and I, the zebras don't see her because she's so still. She may have sat in that position for over an hour. And then suddenly she attacks. The zebras are very fast. They have a great get up and go. And this zebra got up and went. And even with 3 lionesses after it, it got away. In this case, the lioness had laid wait for almost an hour and waited till the very last zebra in the herd went by before she attacked. It too got away, but they don't always. This zebra was caught at a water hole. Suddenly the lioness was on it, but the zebra has weapons. It fights back, it kicks, it bites. And guess what? This zebra got away, leaving a very wet, bedraggled lion to look off, kind of feeling a little embarrassed, I would think. But they certainly do kill zebras. Zebras are an important part of their prey. In this case, they've killed a zebra. And talk about having a bad day. Along comes a herd of buffalo. Now, buffalo are much bigger than zebras and wildebeest and can be very aggressive, especially the males. So the lions are trying to feed on the zebra, but the buffalo don't like lionesses. So they come right up and they chase the lioness away. And they don't just stop with one coming up. The whole herd gets in on it, and several of them stampede after the lionesses. The big male lion, he gets out of there as quick as possible. The 2 lionesses let the buffalo follow the lion away, and then they sneak back to the prey. But hyenas have found the prey. And the buffalo aren't as concerned about hyenas. So the lions come back, and there's hyenas eating their zebra. Well, if the male lion was there, the hyenas would have run off. But these are 2 lionesses. And the hyenas surround the lions. There's more hyenas than there are lionesses. And pretty soon, the same thing happens. The big cat gets chased away by a pack of hyenas. This is really something to watch. And yet, surprisingly, there are times when you see buffalo and lions very close together. Animals seem to sense when predators are hunting actively and when they're not. And when they're not, they relax. This bison or buffalo was badly injured. You can see it's bleeding from a couple of spots, but it will probably heal. Animals have remarkable properties that allow them to heal from even very serious wounds. In another place in Ngorongoro Crater, which is just outside the Serengeti, we came across a pride of lions that have brought down a buffalo. They will bring down buffalo, but it takes several lions working together, usually several lionesses and a lion. In this case, it was just lioness and cubs feeding on the carcass. She was very upset when another lioness approached, and she growled and she snarled. It was really something. Most of the time on safari, this is what you see lions doing. They sleep up to 18 hours a day. And when they're sleeping, the herd basically ignore them. Now, lions, you would think, would do well, but they've lost about 90% of their habitat, and they are now considered an endangered species. There's probably between 20 and 30,000 lions left in Africa. 30, 40 years ago, there were nearly 100,000. So their numbers have gone down. There are places like the Serengeti where you can see a lot of lions. But outside of the Serengeti, farming and cities and other occupations have taken over their habitat. It is at night when lions do most of their hunting, especially when there's a full moon. These little dots that you see on the screen, that's a pride of lions looking at us. Their eyes let in a lot of light, and when you shine a light at them, they reflect back. Really quite spooky. There you can see the lioness, but you'll notice there's another lioness lying down in front of her. Now this is a strange story. In the Ngorongoro crater, lioness were almost wiped out by flies. One year there were so many flies that the lions were so distracted they could not hunt, they could not do anything, and they starved to death. And as a result, only a few lions were left. Now those few lions build up the population pretty quick. But because the Ngorongoro crater is surrounded by farmland now, and the Maasai cattle, other lions could not get in. And so this became an isolated population. It has some of the biggest lions, but also some of the ugliest lions in Africa. Lions are beautiful cats. Whether you see them hunting or whether you see them sleeping, they are really remarkable. They weigh about 200 kilograms. They sleep 18 hours a day. They probably spend an hour or two hunting. Out of their hunts, about 3 out of 10 are successful. Hyenas, on the other hand, are also hunters, and they hunt at night, and they are pretty successful hunters. They hunt in large packs, and unlike lions, hyenas can run much, much further. So hyena kills are quite common. Now, we used to think that the hyena was the cowardly critter who didn't hunt. He ran around and he stole kills from lions. And as you've seen, they certainly do that. But we now know that hyenas are excellent hunters, and that most cases, lions steal their kills. And this is what's happened here. The lionesses have stolen a hyena kill. There were enough lionesses to chase them away. And then a big male lion comes in, chases the females away, and takes over the kill. If you look in the background, you can see the brown dots of the pack of hyenas waiting for the zebra that the lion will probably not leave anything for them to eat. Here's a better shot. There are actually 30 or 40 hyenas here and about 10 lions. And whether the hyenas get the prey or the lions get the prey depends on whether there's a male lion present and how many lions are present, how many hyenas are present, and just how hungry everybody is. Lions often come into conflict with people. One tribe that were notorious for coming in conflict with were the Maasai. Maasai are cattle herders, and lions would eat their cattle, so Maasai would organize hunts to go after the lions, and they would hunt them with spears back in the old days. And although it's illegal now, they still do it. They organize these groups of men, they go out with their shields, and the way they hunt a lion back in the old days is they have their shields, which are almost as tall as I am. And one brave guy has a short stabbing spear, and he approaches the lion after they surrounded it. And the lion charges, and the lion jumps on him, and he falls back, and the lion is trying to grab him, but hopefully can't reach him through the shield because it's made of hide, buffalo hide. And then the rest of them running and spear the lion. Now, the problem is, underneath the hide and the lion is this poor guy with a 400-pound lion on top of him, and all his friends trying to spear the lion without spearing him. If you survive that, you get to wear the lion mane as a badge of honor. The Maasai also help the lion by creating fires, and the fires burn off the grass. Fires don't do any damage to the grass. They leave the roots intact, but they do kill off young trees. And as a result, it helps keep the grassland. If it weren't for the Maasai fires, the grassland would become a forest and the lion would lose some of its habitat. They are magnificent predators. Even seeing a lioness on the plain just sitting there, when it's the first one you've seen, it is a spectacular event. They are well worth preserving. I hope there's a world where lions will always exist. There is some talk, not serious, of reintroducing lions back into places like Yellowstone National Park, because 12, 13,000 years ago, there were lions there. Now that would be something, to be able to go to a park in North America and see a wild lion. So on this note, I'm going to stop the share and I will turn it back, and Stephanie, we can answer some questions. I'm going to take a drink.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Dave. That was great. Yeah, so if you have any questions for Dave, please put them in the Q&A tab or in the comment section if you're watching from Facebook. The first question that popped up here was, how long do lions typically live?
A young lion, a cub, is really lucky to survive its first year. So if they get to be 2 or 3 years old, the lion could live to be 10 or 11 or 12 years old. I think some lions in zoos can live up to 20 years old, but they're very protected and have a very special life.
Great. And how many different species of lions are there? Lisa is wanting to know.
Really, there's one species and 2, maybe 3 subspecies. The main one is the African lion, and then there's the Indian lion, which still exists. And there's 200 of them in India in a place called the Gir Forest, and they're very protected and very important to the local economy.
Miss Steinhoff's class is wondering how many trips you've taken to Africa.
16 or 17.
Wow. Allie in grade 6 wants to know, do the male lions ever try to fight the females?
Yes, they do, actually. Not generally, but when a strange female comes into the pride, the female lions are the ones that maintain the pride. They're there year after year after year. Males come for about 3 years, and then they're chased off by other males. When a strange female comes into the area, the resident females will attack her, and sometimes the male will attack that interloping female. Not always. And he doesn't usually do it with a lot of energy. It's usually females attacking females and males attacking other males.
Anita would like to know, are lions the strongest of the big cats?
There would be some that would think the Siberian tiger is stronger. I don't think there's much to choose. They are certainly among the strongest of the cats. Not much difference between the 2 species.
Logan is asking, how many lion cubs can be born at one time?
Usually 4 or 5, sometimes more, sometimes less. But if there are several females in the pride, they could all give birth around the same time. So you might see a pride of with 15 or 20 cubs. In fact, some prides in the Serengeti have numbered up to 50 animals.
Wow.
That would be like maybe 7 or 8 females, 2 or 3 adult males, and the rest anything from teenage lions to baby lions. It's a huge pride.
Yeah, that's crazy. Lisa wants to know what inspired you to choose this career path, Dave?
I don't think I had a choice. It was my great-great-grandfather was a gamekeeper in Scotland. My great-uncles were hunters in East Africa. My uncle was a hunter. So I came by the hunting instinct, which basically I've turned into photography. And my other side of the family loved wildlife. So I was there from the beginning, and it stuck with me. All these books behind me are about wildlife. And about 6 of those shelves are just about lions or Africa, and 1 shelf is entirely about lions. So
wow.
I'm stuck with it.
Miss Kohler's grade 4 class wants to know, how do lions hunt their prey?
Lions generally hunt them by stalking. So they get down, they'll move towards their prey. Occasionally they'll ambush, but that's more of a leopard's thing. They try and get as close to the prey, and then they'll just lie down. I saw one lioness lie for over an hour and a half, and fortunately I was allowed by my driver on safari. We just sat and watched. This lioness was in the middle of a flat field. There was no grass. The wildebeest saw it lie down, but after a while they ignored it, and one wildebeest came within about 15 feet, and then the lioness was off. The wildebeest got away. They're very fast.
Joelle, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is asking, is it true that lions' tongues are rough like sandpaper? I guess comparing to like a pet cat, how their tongues are sandpaper-like.
Yes, and there have been, this is a little gross, so close your ears if you don't want to hear the story. There have been cases where people have been chased up a tree by a lion, got up to the top branches where the lion couldn't quite go. So the lion started licking the person's boots, licked the boots off, and licked the sole off of their feet, their skin. And of course, the person was badly injured.
Wow.
So yeah, it's rough. You do not want to be licked by a lion.
Wow.
That's true. Look it up.
But your household cats are fine to be licked by.
Okay, sure. Yes. If a household cat was the size of this guy, you wouldn't want to be licked.
It'd be a different story. Nico wants to know, how many male lions are in each pack?
Usually there's 1 to 3 males, often brothers, that are sort of the head of the pride. And then there'll be their sons, and the sons are tolerated until they start to get interested in the females, and then the big adult males will chase them away. And so will the adult females. So I've seen prides with 6 or 7 males, but never more than 2 or 3 of the fully maned adult males, the breeding males.
Okay, awesome. Sorry, we have now 18 more questions, Dave. So do you have about 10 more minutes to
absolutely
stick around for questions from them? Awesome. Okay, so Georgia wants to know, what country specifically has the most lions?
I would say that probably Kenya and Tanzania, because they have very large parks, and the lions are famous there in their parks. So I'd say they'll probably have the most. Namibia has a good number. Botswana certainly has a lot, and so does Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe has been restoring lions to parks that were destroyed during the Civil War. So, but I would say the best place on earth to go see lions would be the Serengeti and the Mara. Serengeti's in Tanzania, Mara's in Kenya.
A question coming in from Teresa. Have you ever been injured, Dave, while taking photographs of lions?
No, because you're in a vehicle, and even though the windows are open, lions think of the vehicle as a big elephant, I suppose, and they don't usually jump into a vehicle. I say usually because remember those first two lions, the ones without the manes that are on display in the museum? Well, back in the turn of the century, not 120 years ago, there was a big drought and a lot of prey died. A lot of people starved to death. A lot of cattle died. And people, the tradition was to put people, their dead relatives, out in the bush for the hyenas and lions to eat. Well, the lions got a taste of people. And to this day, 120, 140 years later, there are still reports of man-eating lions in Kenya and Tanzania. Not very many, really not very many, but there was a time back in the 50s and 60s where lions in Nairobi National Park, which is just outside Nairobi, a couple of lions actually jumped into the vehicles and grabbed people and took them out and ate them. So even though we go around with our roofs open, our drivers are always alert. And I did have one client who thought she could reach out and pet the lioness. She was so close as she walked by, and I said, no, you don't want to do that. That would not be
No.
good for anybody. She didn't
Not
know
with
that.
a lion or any other animal.
Yes, that's true.
Grade 1 rock stars have a question about how do lions communicate with other lions? And I think this question might have come up from a couple other people as well.
Lions roar. So the roar of the lion, that roar, roar, which you can hear for about a kilometer or two. It's really amazing. And it vibrates in your chest. You can literally feel it vibrating. That tells other lions that I'm here. This is my territory. The lionesses will roar. Their roar is a little different, but not much. And that's saying, we're here too. We're here too. This is my land. This is my land. Stay off. But they also communicate by gestures. They rub heads. They love to walk beside each other and just rub against each other like a cat rubbing against your leg. They communicate through scent glands on the feet of the pads of their feet. So when they walk around, a lion leaves a trail. They'll urinate on bushes to let other lions know that this is their land. So there's a lot of sounds, and the cubs make kitten sounds and things like that. So there's a variety. There's a whole language of lions. It's not very complex, but to a lion, it conveys a lot of information. And then, you know, we used to read that the lionesses would coordinate their hunts. And then people say, no, that's nonsense. They don't really do that. And now there's more and more evidence that seems to suggest that somehow this lion knows that I'm going to go around here and you guys are going to stay here and I'm going to spook the herd towards you and you're going to grab one of these animals. And whether or not it's coordinated or not, we really don't understand the mechanism of it. But enough people, enough scientists have seen it that we're kind of curious. Like, is there more that's going on than we know? And the answer to that is absolutely, there's more going on than we know.
Wow. Grace would like to know, why don't the lionesses have a mane? Which is a good question.
Better question, Grace, is why do lions have a mane? And there are a couple of reasons for it. First of all, the mane is really visible. So when a male lion on the plains comes in with a big mane, you know it's a male. And another male knows it's a male. So it's a way of identifying him as a male. The problem with the big mane is if you're a zebra, you're more likely to see the guy with the mane than the girl without the mane. So the mane can act as a distraction and a detriment in some things. In other ways, it's good. For a lioness who does most of the hunting in the pride, not having a mane means she's less visible to the prey and she's able to get closer. It's a secondary sex characteristic, just like my beard tells you I'm a male. Lion's mane tells other lions he's a male. Not all males have beards, and not all lions have manes, but that's in the open plains, that's the way it works.
More questions coming in about how fast lions are, if they can jump high, and if they are able to swim.
They can swim very well. I've seen them swim. They don't do it very often, but they'll certainly go in the water after prey, not a problem. They can run about as fast as a horse, so that's considerably faster than you and I. They probably couldn't run as far as most of the kids who are watching this can run, but they can run a lot faster. So yeah, I think that answered the question. I may have got off track with the swimming one, but oh, jumping. They can jump pretty high. When the Metro Toronto Zoo was first built, they had a lion enclosure. And if you've been to the zoo, you know the lion enclosure has this moat around it. Well, lo and behold, a lion expert came along and said, you know, the lions can jump out of that. Well, the lions were put back in their cages for a few weeks while they made the enclosure deeper. So yeah, they're good jumpers.
Another question from Anita, how endangered are lions? Will they become extinct in our lifetime? And maybe for the younger grades, Dave, if you could explain what endangered means too.
Endangered is a designation that we give animals who may disappear forever. So the dinosaurs are extinct. That means that the big dinosaurs, the T-Rexes, are gone and they won't come back. Lions are threatened with extinction. So they're not endangered. They're not right at the brink of disappearing like the white rhino is, or the black rhino, but they are moving in their direction. Now, there are places in Africa, like the Serengeti, that are large enough that it will contain lions for the foreseeable future. They won't go extinct. But there are other places where the lions aren't protected and they probably will disappear. I mean, they've gone from about 100,000 to 20 or 30,000 in about 40 years. Now, the one thing about lions is that if we protect their habitat and make sure there's enough prey, they can rebuild their population. They have a lot of babies, and if there are not a lot of lions in the area, a lot of the babies will survive to become adults, and they'll have their babies. So the lions could make a comeback. They really could. And we're seeing that with tigers. Tigers in India have been really well protected in the last decade, and their numbers are increasing. So you can go from being threatened to a species of concern, to a species of least concern, to of no concern. But it takes work and it takes effort. See a question here, do lions eat dead animals? Absolutely, they'll scavenge off of another animal's kill, the hyenas particularly.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions coming in, Dave, actually about what they eat. So that's one of the questions, do they eat dead animals? But yep. Other questions coming in is, will they eat any kind of animal, and will they eat any source of plants?
All carnivores, even the polar bear, which is the animal that eats the most meat in its diet, will eat plant material. So any mammal you can name will eat some meat and eat some plant. White-tailed deer, for instance, will eat some meat. If they find a carcass, they might nibble on it, particularly the bones. Lions will certainly eat plants. Just like your kitty cat will eat plants, and your dog certainly will eat plants. But lions, most of their diet, like 90+%, is meat. They prefer larger animals because the lion is a big animal. Eating a little rabbit isn't going to do the lion any good at all. Eating a zebra is enough food to feed him for a week or her. Eating a Cape buffalo or an elephant, we're talking a couple of weeks. But there's a risk. The bigger the animal, the more likely you are to get hurt. A zebra can kick you and break your jaw. An elephant can run a tusk through you. So you have to weigh the risks. So big prides tend to go after big prey. A lion and a lioness, which would be the smallest of the prides, they would probably go after animals like small gazelles or small antelope or impala. But they'll eat anything that's probably bigger than the white-tailed deer up that they can catch.
Right. And I guess that kind of answered, someone asked if they can take down an entire hippo.
I have seen video of them doing it. A hippo is a really big animal
And
with
aggressive.
really big teeth, and they're really nasty. But a sick hippo and enough lions, yep, it could happen. I put my money on the hippo, though.
I guess we'll take two more questions. I know there are a bunch of questions, but I am sure Dave would not mind if we send him an email afterwards with any questions that your students may have. Another question came in and from Valerie in grade 5, but I do believe more people have asked the same questions. Are lions ever prey for other animals? And what does prey mean, Dave?
Prey means that somebody else eats you. So a robin eats a worm, the worm is prey. Lion eats a wildebeest, the wildebeest is prey. Lions are considered to be the top carnivores in their ecosystem. So there are not really any animals that hunt them, but a leopard, if it comes across a lion cub, will certainly kill it. May not eat it, but it'll kill it. Hyenas will certainly kill a lion if they can, but lions are more likely to kill hyenas. They're just a little bit below them in the order of predator and prey. Now, lions generally are pretty safe from other predators unless they're young or sick. Now, when they roamed Europe and Asia, when there were giant bears or saber-toothed cats, that might have been a different story. They were probably not the top predator. But now, in most of their range, they are, except for humans.
Great. And then I think we'll just end on kind of a bigger question, Dave, because there's a lot of questions about the pride. How many animals are in a pride? What is the makeup of that pride? And then there's also a lot of concern about if lions eat their own cubs, I guess using discretion, if you want to explain that.
Well, in the world of the lion, and it's in the lion's world, it's not in the world of other animals, a male lion, when he gets to be the ruler of a pride, which basically means he's the male in the pride itself is the females. They are the pride. There have been some prides that have been in Africa occupying the same space for 40, 50 years. Mothers pass it on to daughters, daughters on to their daughters, and so on and so forth. The males come and they go, not likely for more than 3 years. So you as a male are interested in raising your offspring. You've come in, you've got 3 years to do it. If you're not successful, you're not leaving any offspring behind. So for a lion to come in and take over the pride, he has to get rid of the other guy's kids before he can create his own babies, because mother lions can't have 2 sets of babies at the same time. So that's what they do. It seems harsh to us, but it's nature's way. There are other animals that do it. It's not common, but it does happen. But the pride goes on. The females continue, their daughters grow up and they stay. And so, I mean, it's a remarkable story. There's one pride in the Mara. I think the first book I read about it was in the 70s. So it's been there, still there, 50 years later. It's amazing.
Well, I think we're going to end on that today. Thank you so much, Dave. And I'm just posting in the chat right now some links to the Riverwood Conservancy's website and also Dave's website too. Dave, I don't know if you have any final words before we end.
One of the questions I often get, and I'm going to answer it now, is what can I do to help lions or whatever we happen to be talking about? And the answer is the same. You know, support organizations that look after and value wild country, wild lands. You can do that by making a dollar contribution or by going and visiting it. You know, the African nations are many of them are poor, but they have these reserves of land that they set aside because people go over there and they spend millions and millions of dollars in that country. And the value of a lion is worth $1 million alive. The value of a lion that is shot is worth $5,000 to the economy. So by going over and looking at these things, if you can, that's great. Now, a lot of you aren't going to go on safari, but you can go to places like Riverwood, or you can tell your mom and dad or your local politician, hey, you know what? It's important that we have this green belt and we have this forest, or we should have these animals in the area. Because as we as a society have come to value animals in wild places, the animals have done better. You just have to look around to know that there are coyotes and deer and fox and all sorts of animals living in Mississauga. And not too far from here, there are black bears and wolves are coming back in Yellowstone. It's because we as a society decided that these animals are important, and they are important. If we lose them, we lose something that makes our world run properly. So do what you can, read books about them, look at videos, go visit places, give money, travel. Just let people know that you like wildlife and wild places. And we really appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Dave. That was great. And Dave has another webinar in, I believe, 2 weeks on pileated woodpecker.
Yep.
So if you're interested in learning about the largest woodpecker in North America, I believe, join us for that program as well. It's at 1 p.m. And check out our events page. There's lots of events that are in the afternoon that if you have your classes that want to join, feel free to. I believe our virtual education field trips are all booked for this school year, but please check us out, and hopefully we can come into your classroom for the fall, or maybe we'll be lucky enough to have on-site field trips as well. But in the meantime, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And I will see everyone in the next one. Thanks, Dave.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Stephanie.
Bye-bye, everyone.